Hi, I'm back with 25 books of 2025, and it's part of the Mio series by Jenny Colgan, Christmas at the Island Hotel. An interesting book as well because I had to make some notes because this is actually the second attempt to actually do this. I tried it last night, but I was getting bogged down and confusing myself because can I just say, okay, about Jenny Colgan, so many female characters' names have become way too similar. Okay, so I'm going to give you the first one. Main, Flora. Teacher, Lorna. Friend, Iona. New main girl, Isla. Flora, Lorna, Iona, Isla. I mean, come on. I mean, what did you read? Like the big book of Scottish names to get this? Okay, now I'm going to mention quickly Iona, right, for the first and last time. This is what Iona does. Okay, friend Iona gets hotel labeled the worst one, gets off with Constantine, okay, and that's easily sorted. Right. So they're no longer talking about Iona, okay? Isla. The lead is Isla. Now if I cock up in this review okay and start mentioning calling her Iona and Isla, bear with me because hey, you're the one who did it. Now by the way, if I sound a bit salty doing this review, I still am because in the previous book, what Jenny Colgan did was kill off Colton. Now Colton was a very, very rich American who married Finton, that's Flora's brother, and then died of pancreatic cancer, of course, okay? Because of course gay characters don't get happy endings, do they, in books like this? Yeah, don't they, Jenny Colgan? No. Okay? So, yes, I sound a bit salty about that. I still am salty about that. Anyway, let's get this review started. Here we are. Oh, Christmas at the Island Hotel. Here you go. Flora Mackenzie will do anything to make her brother smile. Finton hasn't smiled much since he lost his partner Colton. Before he died, Colton's passion project was The Rock, the rambling, disused hotel on the tip of the island. Flora is determined to help Finton get the hotel open in time for Christmas, transforming it into a festive haven of cracking lookfires and delicious food. But running a hotel, they're about to discover is not that easy, especially when the motley staff include a temperamental French chef, a kitchen boy who can't peel a potato, and a painfully shy kitchen assistant who blushes when anyone speaks to her. That's Isla, by the way. Yes, mention Isla. Little post-it note down here, Isla. Oh, anyway, so that's the plot. So basically, they've got to transform this hotel into Christmas. And a new character comes in called Constantine, who is he's a prince from Norway. Okay, here you go. Speaking of, the way this book opens, though, I generally enjoyed. Here you go. The island is so small that at 20 knots, it doesn't take long for it to disappear behind you. For Apostle or Daniel or Jesus to go back to checking the radar and the fax machine as they sail between Viking and onto the north outside and ultimately onto the rich, vast um, fields of Norway, leaving the quiet island marooned once more under the cold stars. One Mackenzie farmhouse at the very southernmost tip of the island, the early morning fire is going and the coffee is heating on the stove, and Flora Mackenzie is currently in the middle of a furious stand-up argument with her brother Finton. Now, in this, by the way, is a character called Argo, okay, or Argot, okay, who I can't stand. She's a little girl who is basically she's Flora's niece, and she's just I can't stand her character. And they do say okay, she talks like Auntie Flora, and they do say okay, oh by the way, Flora, she only says it to wind you up. She winds everyone up. Okay, it's an island. I'm like Cliff. See, she's so annoying. And now, okay, baby Douglas. Flora just had a baby Douglas. It's now she says, "Oh, Auntie Flora, baby Bugless is annoying me," kind of thing. I hate this character so much. One thing about this is that Jenny Colgan writes everyone in this book is god awful, with probably the exception of Joel. I generally did like Joel, right? And when it comes, okay, to getting rid of Colton in the previous book, right? It's the whole Finton, the brother who wants to be a cheesemaker, who is a cheesemaker. Right now, okay, he's so entrenched in his grief, and now, okay, he's got to open a hotel because it was his late husband's passion project, but it's not his. And it makes it clear how out of his depth it is. Right. It's never going to pay its way to billion years, said Finton bitterly. We'll just get rid of it. Colton didn't leave me a fortune, he went on anxiously. It's left me this place. We'll head for the money in 5 minutes. Colton had denoted the vast bulk of his considerable fortune to medical research. It left the hotel and his home to Finton, but Finton couldn't bear to live in the vast echoing house by himself. So Joel and Flora were renting it while Finton stayed back at the farmhouse. So essentially poor Finton, who's lost his husband, has been left okay virtually nothing okay but a ramshackle hotel and a house, right? Well, actually it's gonna be a 5-star hotel, right? And suddenly he's out of his depth and he's wound up back at square one. He's wound up back to where he started at the start of this series. Where's the fairness in that? There's no fairness in that. Oh, I'm so angry reading this book. This book is filled with good, awful people, and it feels like Colton from Beyond the Grave, who loved his husband so much, is now twisting the knife. Oh, absolutely. Here you go. And this is a bit here, no. But no, he was out on his own, doing a job he didn't know he was suited for. It was alright for Flora, he thought. Her life had worked out absolutely fine. She had a boyfriend, had a baby, had the house even. Fitted compared to live in Finton's... Hold on. There's a cock up here. Finton compared to live in Finton's mansion. Shouldn't it be Finton compared to live in Colton's mansion? Where's a cock up? I didn't notice that. So he made Flora rent it, but he still kept resenting them being there. He wanted to bricked up like a shrine, kept exactly how it had been when they'd been in love, when everyone else was walking through it, and the baby's laugh and the fire's crackling. Every time Flora changed something, he whinged. Flora wearied as tried to tiptoe around the place, so as a result nobody was particularly happy with the arrangement. Right, so it's now okay, poor Finton, who wanted just to make cheese, instead of Colton actually put money towards that, building like a proper like area where you can like make cheese and get it all like through the regulations and actually make a success of this business which Finton wanted to build. Now Finton has got to manage the late Colton's dream. Where's the fairness? There's not. So basically it feels like Jenny Colgan has taken Colton, right, who a character I generally liked, and has basically kind of destroyed his image from beyond the grave. And all this, okay, you get Constantine, who is a member of the Norway royal family, okay, who has been exiled and excommunicated, right? But he comes in like a little bit further along. Here you go. But the thing, oh, in all this, by the way, is that Flora has a nemesis, Jan. Now, Jan is a character who appears throughout every single book. Who's a character I can't stand. She's an absolute bitch, okay? Absolute bitch of a character. Here you go. Flora had never said she had a nemesis, but if she had a nemesis, it would have been Jan. I never quite forgiven her for getting off her boyfriend years ago for like 2 seconds. Actually, Flora was expected correctly that Jan found it slightly more annoying that Flora had never get a second thought afterwards. No one she and Joe had found another. Well, yeah, because essentially is this, is that what happened was years ago, okay, when Jan and her husband, okay, broken up, um, basically, Flora and her husband just kissed briefly. Jan found out, practically demanded the husband walk down the aisle, and the fact is, Flora left the island, came back, married Joel, a successful businessman, had a baby, life's going well, and she's just jealous and bitter and a total bitch. Okay, and bragging, okay, oh, my baby Christabel, okay, is absolutely so marvellous. My baby Christabel is wonderful. Now, one thing I will give Jenny Colgan is that I hate virtually everyone in this book, with the exception of Joel. Okay? Absolutely. And, then, okay, you meet Constantine. Now, Constantine is a member of the Norwegian royal family who's been exiled by his father. What happened was his father had met Joel, who had a business thing, and basically said, I'm cutting my husband off. Sorry, I'm cutting my son off, and it's Joel who helped him secure kind of employment on the island. That's what Joel did. However, Joel at another point in this book actually has a conversation with Constantine, who is very, very rich, smart, actually is smart. He has a dog. He is just basically lost his way in life, you know, partying hard, fast cars, fast women, and his father just cuts him off. Right, so he winds up, okay, on the island working as the pot boy. This bit here. Until now, it only felt cross and annoyed at, according to him, being kidnapped and forced into servitude. Now it felt worse than that. He felt exiled from everything he loved. The thought of the pretty house trod him, or heading out into the woods to get a glimpse of the northern lights. And he's sitting in a hot tub at his friend's cabin. No was unbearably homesick, and he had to hide Bajak in his room to keep him out of the kitchen, which wasn't going to work well for long, judging by the passion that had started up as soon as he left the room. Right, so he's working in the kitchen, but he's absolutely clueless. Never pulled a potato before, and now, okay, he's got no money, he's been cut off, he's got no mobile, and now, okay, he meets Isla. Isla, who is the very, very shy, kind of lives under her mother's thumb, kind of, you know, very, very also insecure, and they meet, and there's also, when they first meet, there's a total cock-up with how it all goes down, and interesting too, because basically, Constantine tries it on. He tries it on with her, and she screams and runs for the room. And one thing I generally like, I like the character Constantine. I thought Constantine was actually a great character. But the problem is, we've got so many other characters now in this book that all the other characters that I wanted to see get pushed out. Like Finton dealing with his grief because, oh yeah, Jenny Colgan killed off Colton. That kind of thing. Every single character that we've met gets pushed out for Constantine and Isla. To the point was kind of, what is the point of this? What is the absolute point of this? By the way, I truly hope you've read the other books, okay? Want to kind of get who these characters are. And once again, when I bring in Jan, once again, Jan, who's such a good, awful character, okay? This bit here, it really, really did annoy me, okay, about Jan. This is when she is at a, funny enough, an organisation to raise money for her charity, raise money for her company, okay? She runs a wilderness activity company which takes children from impoverished backgrounds and shows them back to live in the wilderness, island life, that kind of thing, for them to kind of get away from their thing, from their kind of difficult circumstances. And she brags about that. Now, you're supposed to think that Jan is not an altruistic. No, Jan just does it because she's got a martyr complex. That's why. Because she's that good awful of a character. And this bit here from Jan. Here you go. Right. But you can't just walk out of nowhere and start from scratch. It's just not possible. And I come from nowhere, said Flora, through sight your clenched teeth. I come from down the road. But what are gadding about, managed foreigners and whatnot. You don't really understand what the local community needs now, do you? A bit of dinner at least, don't you think? And how are you going to cope with travellers from further afield? People have standards, you know. They're more than a cheese scone, which I notice we don't even have. And then but dinner comes out, it's absolutely marvellous. People start basically crying their food. It's just a steak and chips, but it's the best steak and chips ever because Gaspard, who's a new French chef, he is just a absolute demon in the kitchen, but he's good at his job. He's a French chef and he's outspoken and opinionated and sitting there with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. His health and safety doesn't exist on this island. And yes. Jan still has to twist the knife in a little bit further because she's so good awful. Here we are. Right. It turned out to be an incredible luxury night for Jan and Charlie's charity, and Jan, who'd been rather looking forward to dispensing, what a shame they got handled a big place on their own. It's such a pity, isn't it? Stories all over town, was reduced to admitting that in fact everyone had a brilliant time, and though the stag's head was fine, the heads of many people wake up in the morning were not in the best possible way. Right, there's a stag head there from Kirsty Colton. The fact is, Jan is so good, awful character that she'd rather her charity event fail, right, than admit that she was wrong. I'm supposed to like these people. They're all good awful. They are all absolutely good awful. And when it comes to the poor Finton is mourning Colton, suddenly becoming a hotelier. Now this is the thing about becoming a hotelier, is that it's not an easy thing. You've got to keep guests happy. You've got to keep this happy. You've got to make sure the place is clean. It's the interesting thing is that everyone is so out of their depth, and the fact that once again it's like Colton's twisting a knife. When it comes to poor Finton, who's lost everything as one back at his family home due to his grief, he hooks up with Gaspard, okay, the French chef. There's been a great exploration, okay, of basically Finton kind of come to terms, okay, kind of moving on. This kind of, is it a hookup? Is this a bit more? Right, but we don't even get that. It's kind of glossed over. How come is it, no, I'm going to say this right now. How come is it heterosexual grief and mental health and that kind of thing has a lot of focus in this book? You've got Joel, Flora's husband, well, soon-to-be husband, who basically grew up in foster care, struggled a lot with his mental health, who's basically been a very attentive dad to the point it makes Flora jealous because he didn't have that in his own life. You've got everyone else's, but his grief has had a lot of focus in the other books. However, Finton's grief, because he's gay, I guess, doesn't get that level of grief. Doesn't get that much focus. All we get though, okay, is this. Right. You think I wanted any of this shit to happen? None of this. I don't want any of this. I don't want any of this. I don't want any of this. Any of this? Echoed Gaspard suddenly, a tall strained look on his face, his wide body long and braced against the wind. And the next second they were kissing fiercely, passionately, the turmoil of the storm's hysteria reflecting their own. That's what we really get. So, and Gaspard, well, I guess because he's French, his reaction is, we will sort it out, Nespa. We will, it's okay, Sarah, what will be. No commitments, nothing like that. Remember, Finton lost his husband to pancreatic cancer, but hey, of course not. Absolutely, of course not. However, with Constantine now on the island, he's actually settling in, and he's kind of coming to function, okay, without the bare necessities of life in a room, okay, with his dog. Right. I generally really like Constantine as a character. I thought he was refreshing. Here we are. For his faults, Constantine was merry at heart. It was hard for him to be down for long periods of time without his natural buoyancy resurging itself. Though the worst realization was that it made him caught up in agony, was that at the time he believed he was surrounded by friends and employees who thought he was simply charming. It became increasingly obvious that in fact it was not the case at all. People actually being paid by his father, enjoying the feast of family fortune. His people liked him, as some did, as some notably Isla very much didn't, which was almost worse. Lots of people, the entire population, and the fact was almost entirely different to him. Back home, everyone knew who he was, so he's enjoying the freedom of total anonymity. In his country, he's been photographed for tabloids. In this little country, okay, in this island, no one cares who he is, and even wonders, okay, if I tell them who I am, well, they're not even going to believe me. Absolutely not going to believe me. So he kind of keeps it to himself and kind of gets it on. And one thing I generally like to say about Isla, she's coming out of a shell more, she's speaking up, becoming more assertive, is the fact is that she's coming to fall for Constantine, but the reality is she doesn't even need him. She doesn't. She's sorting out her own life and actually becoming more mature as a person. Here you go. I know that the other subplot, because once I mentioned, okay, all the other characters have been pushed out for new ones. It's Saif and Lorna. Lorna is the teacher and Saif is the doctor, who is a Syrian refugee who's come to the island with his two sons. And suddenly, okay, he's been searching for his missing wife. Right. Searching for his missing wife, and now he's finally tracked her down. That's the other subplot. Now, in all this, because it'd be such a scandal, because he's married, okay, to Amina, right, who is still in Syria, and it turns out that his wife, and he's asked Lorna to wait. He's asked Lorna, and they're basically hooking up in secret and actually having a secret relationship, hooking up when they can, and it's been so brief. To keep it a secret, don't tell anyone. It could affect my standing in society. It could affect, okay, my asylum claim, that kind of thing. It turns out that Amina is still alive, right? And she's remarried to an ISIS fighter, and they have a child, as a child on the way, right? So an affair with someone who is in Syria who's committed bigamy. But yeah, here you go. It was Amina. Yes, it was her. He couldn't deny it, but it couldn't be. The figure was straight ahead, staring at the camera. She had old, but beautiful eyes were just like ashes. Oh, that's the sun. The long ashes flicking towards the side. Mother and son were so similar. But this woman, who was not Amina, she had her arm for another man. Her left hand glinted a wedding ring, another silver cord, ring of coarse silver that Saif had given her. I bought from Beirut, bought an American student's meager salary. It was a thick, dull band that could have been gold or could have been a brass curtain ring for all he could tell. But however, she's pregnant with another child. So the reality is this: as she's married to, basically, Sarah's plan was to kind of try to bring Amina over. As she's now married, could be by force, to a ISIS fighter. That's not going to happen. She's in Syria and she'll be staying there. And now, okay, for Lorna, or Lorena, as he likes to call her, they've got to decide what to do. Got to decide what to do and keep their relationship secret. And I don't like the fact that in all this, Saif is so procrastinating about this. It's the whole, I can't step out with Lorna. I can't be with her because of my standing in the community. Basically keeping her on tenterhooks, making her wait, asking her to wait, and she loves him, so she do it. I generally do not like how Saif treats Lorna. I don't. Right. She does way better than him, being dangled, okay, like a carrot on a string. Right. And also one thing I don't like, okay, about Saif is just so goddamn critical, okay, of everything, the entire process. I get, okay, his life's difficult, but doesn't have to be such a dick about it all the time. So the thing is this. Now, regarding Saif and Lorna. Now, first of all, I do not like Saif whatsoever. However, the fact is, okay, their main storyline is put aside for Constantine and Isla. So, this bit here, right, here we go. It was so ridiculous. The confident Constantine a couple of months ago completely disappeared entirely. Wondered for an instant it was possible that the previous Constantine had been a bit irritating and full of himself, because Constantine has actually fallen for Isla, and she's like he's actually going to ask her out, and but I love actually Isla's hesitation in all this. Right, please, she thought, please not be about to let her go upstairs. Please not have some plans for something sordid or not. She's borne it up, she knew. She had feelings for the pot boy, but at the end of the day, he was just a boy, a normal boy who, well, she held her breath. Is the fact is that as he's away from all the technology and everything else, he actually courts her. Constantine actually courts Isla, which in a way is very, very sweet, and I like that aspect. But of course, a journalist comes to the hotel, which has been labelled because the dog went mad in the Constantine's dog went mad, okay, and it was caught on social media by Iona. So the hotel was labelled Britain's worst hotel, a tiny island, okay, who finds out who Constantine is and basically uses it as a reason, okay, to insult Muir, insult the locals, insult Constantine, if you will. And here you go. Playboy Prince slumming it in Britain's worst hotel. Right. Here you go. She blinked. There was a huge picture of Constantine wearing some kind of weird military uniform with medals on it next to the pic of Gaspard falling over with Bajak, sorry. Britain's worst hotel, the Rock on the island of Muir, will be further rocked by the revelation that the Kitchen Jr., other than Constantine Sturda Krangahan, the playboy son of one of Norway's richest and most aristocratic families. And the total thing's an insult, so it all kind of comes out regarding Constantine, and I was kind of pissed at him, but in the end he kind of sorts it out and actually puts the lights on, and everyone starts to love him again. Right. And actually do things to other people. Remember Argo, who I cannot stand? He actually makes her, because she's obsessed with swimming, so he makes like a swimming pool for her, so he's ice skating rink for her, so it all works out. And here you go. What about an okay live in a castle, looks nice if anything, and a statue is brilliant, so screw them, but this might be really bad news for the hotel. I snorted, I won't care about that either. I don't think Finton was anything to do with it, and it's killing Flora. I'm happy if it fell into the sea. That's some Ines, that's the grandfather. So the fact is, okay, Ines, who kind of been kept back at this, is actually having a chat with Constantine. And actually they hate the hotel. It's like, why are you doing it if you hate it so much? Just sell it on, okay? But in the end, okay, because Flora started off baking at a little cafe by the sea. I love the Rock, Finton. I love what Colton was trying to do from the start. It's where I met Joe, where I fell in love, where everyone fell in love. It's where I had the most fun that I can remember. I want his legacy to be right. I want to do it, Finton. I can do it if you like. I can take over the Rock as a real job, and you can go back to making cheese. Right. So that's what's going to be, is that Flora started out running the Seaside Bakery, is now going to be running the hotel. And Constantine's father shows up. It's absolutely marvellous. He's very, very proud of his son and what he's accomplished. And I guess our island owner are actually going to go live together. Okay. And also, Isla could have never known how delighted Constantine Senior was to meet for the first time a friend of Constantine's properly introduced, who didn't look like an overindulged party girl or behaved like a spoiled brat. Someone sweet, pretty, normal and kind. She's very conscious of her apron dough and her damp hands. And then Isla's mother shows up and is like, well, I hope your son's good enough for my daughter. And that's how it ends. So it ends with Fiona taking over a hotel, even though she's not a hotelier. Finton going back to making cheese, and maybe, this part, have a relationship with Gaspard, the French chef. Ambiguity came regarding Isla and Constantine, because he's going to go back to Norway. Right. I don't know how this book ends. Actually, I don't like the characters in this book. Right. I do like Flora actually acknowledging, yes, she's actually jealous of her husband, well, fiance, actually, being so tender with the baby, being so good with the baby. But this book felt so hollow, so soulless. It's like, why are you bringing all these new characters? I mean, I feel okay with Lorna and Saif. Should have had more depth to it. But no, it essentially ends with, Lorna, I love you. Please wait longer for me. I'm sick of it. It's annoying. And yes, I still think, after reading the other one, what they did at killing off Colton, okay, was such a big move, because now, okay, all these people are filling Colton's dream instead of their own. What's the fairness in that? There's not. I hated it. So, I don't like Constantine. So Jenny Colgan, Christmas at the Island Hotel, it did feel Christmassy to me in the end because I thought it was crap. Anyway, I'm signing off here. Bye now.